Hey guys, it's November the 1st, 2025, and I hope everybody's been having a wonderful day so far today. I hope everybody's been having a great weekend, and I hope everybody had a very nice Halloween last night, and I hope everybody was able to stay sober and stay strong last night. You know, if you did in fact slip yesterday, it's not the end of the world, and you know, all the days that you've had in the past, you know, it's one of the things that you know, I often hear in the comments, you know, I'll be replying to the comments and I hear, you know, somebody will say, you know, I made it up to 3 months and then I just relapsed, you know, all that's just gone. And it's not. Those days are still there. You know, maybe you don't have, you know, 85 days in a row now, but those 85 days of sobriety that you had leading up to the day that you relapsed are still there. That's, you know, 85 days of damage that didn't happen to your body. It's 85 days of days you didn't have to worry about getting a DUI. It's 85 days that you weren't lying. You know, you weren't lying to your loved ones. You weren't lying to your kids. You weren't lying to your friends. You weren't lying to your coworkers. 85 days of not having to go to work and cover up the smell of alcohol in your breath. 85 days of probably getting up and getting to work on time. 85 days of not feeling horrible all day long, unless you had like the flu or something like that. But, you know, we don't wake up feeling horrible every single day when we're sober. You know, it just that whole period of time that, you know, that you did stay sober, those days all still count and they're all still there. And I'm so proud of each and every single one of you guys that have managed to be able to stay sober for whatever length of time. If you've made it one day, congratulations. That's so awesome. That's a big step. Just making it an hour without a drink is a huge step. Just by watching this video right now, you know, and nobody told you to. You know, this is just something that you're looking at on your own accord. You know, something that you're doing a little bit of research on, you know, yourself. I'm proud of you. You know, most people that get on YouTube or Netflix and things like that, they're not getting on there to look at, you know, videos about sobriety or, you know, how to better yourself and things like that. You know, they're just watching whatever's going to entertain them. So, you know, like I said, I'm proud of you for taking however much time out of your day, even if you don't watch the whole video. You know, if you just stick around for 5 minutes, if you just stick around to right now, I'm proud of you. It's so awesome that you are, you know, taking a step, that you're looking into this, that you're considering getting sober if you haven't already. Because getting sober, it's not easy. It's so difficult to do, but it can be done. I mean, it really can be done. But anyway, like I said, you know, so often I hear in the comments, you know, people telling me that they relapsed yesterday or they relapsed today, and, you know, all that time of sobriety, you know, it's often like I just threw that all away, and that's just not the case. Like I said, those days are all still there. So, you know, don't beat yourself up too bad about this. If you did relapse last night, you know, it is so difficult to stay sober. It takes a lot of willpower, and if you're somewhere where there's just alcohol flowing and, you know, it looks like everybody's having a great time and you've had a bad day and, you know, you just got into a fight with your spouse because you just wanted to go out. They were afraid you were going to drink and you did anyway, you know. Alcohol is just such a powerful substance. It's so cunning. You know, the thing about alcohol too is it's a trickster. In the very beginning, it actually works for what we're trying to use it for. It relaxes you. You know, after a long day of work, you know, that stress just kind of just melts away in the beginning. Whatever problems that you have, your mind starts to quiet down. You know, it's one of the reasons that I started drinking and using at an early age, because I was self-medicating myself. Just my mind was constantly just bouncing all over the place. And, you know, once I discovered the broccoli, you know, and tried that for the first time, and I got that feeling of just like, I felt comfortable in my own skin. For once, I finally felt okay with who I was. And then I found alcohol, and man, oh man, not only did I feel comfortable in my skin, but it allowed me to become another person. It allowed me to pretend that I was somebody else, the person that I thought other people wanted me to be. You know, I pretended to be someone else. I was constantly, you just trying to be the life of the party. And that's all I ever wanted to do. I just never shut up. I was always loud in people's faces. And that's kind of really what I want to talk about today. Because last night, I went over to my brother's house for Halloween, and we took our kids over there. It was my nephew's birthday party last night. And, we went over there for both things. We went over there for my nephew's birthday and for the kids to all go trick-or-treat. So my wife and both of my boys, my daughter was out with her boyfriend doing some stuff last night, so she didn't come with us. But, it was my wife, my boys, and then my brother had some other people come over to his house as well, and it was him and his kids and his wife. And then he invited some friends of his over to the house. What I wanted to talk about is somebody ended up showing up to my brother's house last night that I don't think anybody knew was going to pop up over there. I think this individual found out that there was going to be, basically a get-together going on at my brother's, and they just decided just to pop up. And man, oh man, it has been quite a while since I have seen somebody intoxicated on alcohol. It's been a while. I haven't been around anybody super intoxicated like that in some time now. And talk about a reminder of why we are staying sober today. Because this individual, and I'm not going to say their name or anything like that, or even, dance around who this person was. I'm just going to say somebody popped up over there. And this individual was doing the same thing like I used to do back in the day, because I know who this person is, and they don't act like that on a normal day-to-day basis. As a matter of fact, normally they're a pretty quiet person, and it takes a lot to get them to talk, especially get them to engage in a conversation with you. They're just a quiet individual. Not last night. Last night they showed up over there and were bouncing off the walls, just in your face. I mean, just so intoxicated. And when I was over there last night, I was just thinking to myself, this is how I used to act right there. And I really got a feeling for what it's like to be someone who's sober, and then to have someone who's completely intoxicated show up and then try to have a conversation with said sober person, which last night was me and everybody else that was over there. It was just this one individual was completely gone. I mean, they were on the moon. And like I said, while I watched this individual, I just really... a lot of self-reflection last night, while this was going on. After we left and got home, when I was just laying in my bed last night, I was just laying there thinking about that, about how that used to be me. And today, I thought about it today as well. We just got back home. It is 10 till 6 right now. We just got back. I thought we were just going to hang out around the house all weekend because I am beat. We've done so much stuff here recently. And my wife and I agreed, this weekend, we're not doing anything. We're just going to hang around the house and just chill out, relax, watch movies, do some cleaning and stuff like that, but just take it easy this weekend. But this morning, last night when we were out and about, both of my kids got really cold. It got really cold. Cold for us here in South Carolina. My kids, their jackets just weren't adequate last night. They have thin jackets, and my youngest son needed a new jacket, and my oldest son needed a new jacket as well. So this morning, we talked about it on the way home last night. We're like, we need to get you guys some new jackets. And this morning we woke up and we were talking about maybe ordering them for them online. And I just told my wife, I said, if we order something, you never know if it's going to fit correctly. And that's a lot of money for a jacket. Let's just drive, to the store and just go take a look at them and let the kids at least try them on, and let's see how they look. And if we like the jacket and we want to buy it online, then we can. So we went shopping today. We got up early this morning and headed out. We've been gone all day long. we went out, went to a whole bunch of stores, found the kids' jackets, and then we went and had lunch at a pretty nice little place. They do like just really nice hamburgers, just kind of like up there, not upper class, but just upper tier hamburgers, kind of a deal. Just fancy burgers, with like a fried egg, sunny side up fried egg on top, and blue cheese crumbles, just stuff like that. And we just got back home here just a minute ago, and all day long I've been thinking about, what I want to talk about today, and I was really hesitant to talk about this today because I was just worried that somebody would catch wind that I was talking about this. And after just thinking about it all day long, I was like, you know what, I'm still going to talk about it. I'm just not going to say who this person is. I'm not even going to like talk about anything about them, what time they showed up or anything like that, because there were quite a few people over there, and I'm sure that if somebody watched this, they're going to know. But I just think it's really important to talk about this today because, like I said, I saw somebody last night that was very, very intoxicated, and it was pretty embarrassing. Not embarrassing, I guess it was embarrassing for that individual, but I got embarrassed because I really started playing it out in my head. I'm thinking to myself, like, that used to be me, and anytime I showed up anywhere, that's how I acted. And I guess it was important for me to see that last night because it really set in stone how, I guess, annoying I used to be when I was in active addiction. Because I was that guy. I was in everybody's face. I was always pushing other people to drink, which this individual was doing last night. Kept saying, come on, let's have a drink. Let's have a drink. And everybody's like, no, thank you. Man, that is one thing that I did notice last night, and it really made me think about the fact that I was just talking about this just the other day, about how when I was in active addiction and when I would get around a group of people and I was the only one that was intoxicated, that I tried my very best to get everybody else to drink with me because misery loves company, and I was absolutely miserable, and I wanted everybody else to be miserable with me, I guess, or excuse me, I don't know if I necessarily wanted to be miserable with me, but I just didn't want to be the only one that was drinking like that. I didn't want to be the only one. I stuck out like a sore thumb, and I guess there was a little bit of jealousy there, when I'm, around other people and everybody else is sober and I have absolutely no self-control. And it didn't matter what the function was. I did not have enough self-control to not drink before it. And I could have waited till after. I could have waited till the middle of these things, And when I say like having a get together, like maybe I went over to somebody's house for a party, or maybe it was Thanksgiving over at my folks' house. I would show up over there just completely wasted drunk, just like this individual did last night. And then as soon as I get in there, come on, everybody needs to drink, take a shot. And I would often, when I showed up to people's houses, I always had a bottle with me wherever I went. That bottle came along because, number one, I wasn't going to, beg somebody else for their alcohol. And I guess I always felt like if I showed up to somebody's house with my own alcohol, my own mixer, my own cup, my own spoon to stir it with, everything, what are you going to tell me? You can't tell me I can't drink something I brought, and I don't have to ask you, can I have one of your drinks? I just showed up, and probably 99% of the time, before I even walked into wherever we were going, I was sitting in my vehicle with my little bar in my lap, mixing up drinks, and I would mix a big, huge drink, stir it up, and then, go hang out with people. And then when I got finished, I go right back to the vehicle and mix another one, or I brought the alcohol inside. But like I said, I always took alcohol with me wherever I went, because I just felt like if I had my own stuff, no one could tell me what I could and could not do. If I went to somebody's house and didn't have anything, and I show up wasted drunk, and I go, hey, you mind if I have one of your drinks? Of course, they're going to tell me no. They're going to say, you already have had enough. You don't need any more. And I just didn't want to deal with that. So I brought my own alcohol anywhere I went. And just like last night, this individual showed up with their own booze. And when they showed up with their own booze, next thing you know, I look over and they're pouring themselves shots. And they're taking shots. They came in the house a little cooler and their own shot glass and everything, and started pouring up shots. Now, we weren't sitting in the main living room when all this happened, because when we got to my brother's house, we hung out for just a second. It was just about to get dark, and they took all the kids. I stayed at my brother's house and passed out candy because I just couldn't walk around the neighborhood last night. I just didn't feel good enough. So I stayed back, passed out candy while everybody else walked around. My brother and two of his friends stuck around. So there was 4 of us that stayed back, plus my oldest son. And we just handed out candy, just hung out and talked, standing out in the front yard. And everybody got back after they finished. And they had a bunch of food in there they had gotten, and everybody just kind of ate and things like that. We all hung out in the living room and in the kitchen. And then after everybody ate, people kind of like separate off into different groups, and that's basically what we did. And a bunch of the guys, we all kind of broke off and went off into the garage. So we were just hanging out in there, and that's one of my brother's next door neighbors came over and knocked on the door because they had a flat tire, and they needed to know if my brother had an air compressor that they could borrow, and my brother did. So he opened up his garage door, because we were sitting in my brother's garage. It's insulated and all that, and he had a heater going in there. And when he opened up that garage door, it got really, really cold. So I got up and just walked out there, was watching what they were doing and everything like that. And they were, like I said, they were giving this guy this air compressor to help him with his tire. And all the guys were just kind of out there talking. And the next thing you know, this other person showed up. And that's when, that person showed up intoxicated. And, I just really, really, really self-reflected on that. While it was happening, I'm just watching this individual and how drunk that they were and how they were acting. And the whole entire time, all I kept thinking to myself is, that was you. That was you. That's exactly how you used to act. Because I'm not going to lie, I was getting really annoyed. I almost got up and left. And I had walked inside at one point and told my wife, we're going to have to go. I can't stay around here. And she was like, wow, what's going on? She wasn't aware that this person had showed up because, like I said, we were all in the garage. They had opened up the garage door, and then this individual just walked right into the garage after we had all got back in the garage after they all finished, and we were standing in the garage, and my brother hadn't closed the garage door yet, and then this individual shows up. And, my wife and none of the people inside the house knew that they had showed up. And when I walked inside and told my wife, it's about time to go, she's like, what's going on? Are you not feeling well or something? And I'm like, no, that's not it. And she's like, what is it? And I didn't want to tell her because, there were a lot of people and it was really quiet in there, and I knew everybody was going to hear me. I just said, never mind. I'll let you know if I really feel like we need to go. I said, but, just be on alert that I might come in here any minute and tell you we've got to go. She's like, okay, yeah, no problem. So I walked back outside. We're over there, at my brother's house. Of course, I'm going to go, talk to my brother. And I walked back out there. And I just kind of stood there and, more than anything, I just wanted to observe. I just kind of stood there and observed this individual and how they were acting. And, like I said, really just thinking about the fact that that's who I used to be. And I used to be like that every single day. The one thing I can tell you is that there was nothing glamorous about, this individual being intoxicated last night at all. It was completely opposite of what I used to believe about myself when I used to drink. I used to think when I drank, I had all this courage and I looked so cool and I was such a cool person and I was so funny and everybody loved to be around me and everybody thought I was so funny because everybody always laughed when I was intoxicated. Everybody was just laughing and they thought it was just so funny. I thought back in the day, and what I didn't realize is that, yeah, it was funny. People weren't laughing with me. They were laughing at me. Because what I was doing was embarrassing. There was nothing cool about it. There was nothing slick about it. There was, like I said, nothing glamorous about it at all. Nothing fashionable about it. I did not look intelligent whatsoever. I was not being funny. As a matter of fact, I was being corny. There was nothing funny about it at all. More than anything, it was just embarrassing. And not only embarrassing for myself, I can't imagine what my wife and my kids used to think when I was in active addiction and drunk and acting like that, Like I said, last night was a lot of self-reflection. And I thought about it all day today. I thought about it all night last night after we left. I thought about it all morning. About how, like I said, how embarrassing that must have been for my wife and my kids. Especially like a night like last night, because for many years we have been going over to my brother's house for Halloween. We've been doing the same thing, I don't know, for the past 10 years or something like that. And, every year leading up until the past few years, I've been completely wasted drunk. I'm pretty sure we went over there last year, but I had just gotten out of the hospital and I did not feel well. We went over there and I just went to sleep as soon as we got over there. Either that was last year or the year before. I'm pretty sure it was last year. Like, I had just gotten out of the hospital. And like I said, we went over there and I just went and got my brother's bed. He has like a spare bedroom. I went and got in the bed and just fell asleep because I wasn't feeling well. But, the past couple of years before that, when I was in active addiction, I would go over there smashed. And I never walked around with the kids either because I was always so drunk. I just physically could not do it. Couldn't do it. And not just that, I didn't want to go walk around because I couldn't drink the way that I wanted to when I was walking. I wanted to make sure that, I could just hang back and drink as much as I wanted to. And there were some times that I would walk around. I would get my big Yeti cup and, make myself like a 32-ounce liquor drink and walk around while it lasted for 15 minutes or something like that. And that was it. And then I'd tell my wife, okay, well, I've got to go use the bathroom, so I'm going to go back. Y'all have fun. I'll see y'all in a little bit. I'll catch you when you come back around the loop. Yeah, I probably did have to use the restroom, but more than anything, I just wanted to go back and mix another drink because, God forbid, I walk around for another 15 minutes with nothing in my hand. I couldn't go any amount of time without drinking. I mean, I just couldn't. I was so addicted. But back to, just being completely wasted drunk. Like I said, it's not a good look, guys. It's just not. And for today, let's stay sober. Let's stay sober so we don't go back to that, go back to looking that way. Let's not go back and embarrass our children, embarrass our spouses, our boyfriends, our girlfriends, embarrass our family, your mom, your dad, your cousins, your uncles, your aunts, your grandparents, whoever. We just don't realize when we are drinking what we look like. If you've ever seen a video of yourself when you were intoxicated, let me tell you something. It is so embarrassing. Have you guys ever seen it? Let me know in the comments if you've ever seen a video of yourself when you were drunk. I don't have very many. I do have a video that I do know of 100% that is on my Google account. The only problem with it is that my kids are in there in the video as well, and I would have to blur them out. I've thought about it over the past couple of years, posting it up, and I just don't know. I might do it one day. The only thing is, like I said, I have to go in there and blur them out. And I am not the most savvy person when it comes to technology and stuff like that. So I'm sure I could figure it out, no problem. It's just, I'll be honest with you guys, I'm embarrassed of that video. I'm wasted drunk. And what it is we had gone over to my parents' house. I think it was Thanksgiving, and every year when we go to my parents' house for Thanksgiving or Christmas, my kids always want to go for a walk in the woods over there. My parents live in the country as well. They got some property, so every year, Christmas, Thanksgiving, whatever, anytime we go over to my parents' house, my kids want to go for a walk in the woods. And this time, we had gone for a walk in the woods, and we ended up walking in. There's like a bamboo forest back there where my parents live. And for any of you guys who have bamboo growing around you, you know that once you get bamboo started, once it starts growing somewhere, it's basically impossible to get rid of, and it just takes over. It's kind of like that, what is that stuff called? It's not wisteria. What is that stuff called? We were just talking about it the other day when we were up in the mountains, because it's all over everything. They planted it here originally to feed cattle with. I cannot remember what that stuff's called. I'll remember here in a minute. But it's kind of like that. It's that green stuff that grows all over the side of the interstates and everything. I think it came from China originally. It's like a vine. But anyway, it's bamboo's kind of like that. Once it gets started, like it's basically impossible to get rid of. And there's a place back in the woods where my parents live that is just like overrun with bamboo. And every year it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And my kids just think it's really cool to go walk around that little bamboo forest. We were back there that day, and I don't know who was recording me. I have absolutely no idea. All I know is that it's on my library. I could have been sent that video. I really don't remember, but it's a video of myself, my youngest son, and my oldest son. And myself and my youngest son are stick fighting with bamboo. I guess you could say that. Because I really wasn't doing anything except standing there with my stick, holding it while my son smacked it all around. I was supposed to be stick fighting with him, but I was so drunk, I couldn't even do anything. And you can clearly see it in the video. I mean, my eyes are like, one's over this way, the other eye's shooting that way. I've got a cigarette hanging out of my mouth. I'm just kind of doing like this. I keep, leaning back and forth, and I've got this stick in my hand, and like I said, my son's sitting here doing like this and just smacking it, and I just kind of got this giggle, and like I said, there's a cigarette just, it's not a good look, guys. Here I am, got a cigarette hanging out of my mouth like that, and I look like this, and I'm just so drunk in the video, wasted drunk. Like I said, I've been too embarrassed to ever post that video. I might post it up this week so you guys can see. And another thing that you'll see in that video as well is how much bigger I used to be back then. And that was all from alcohol. Every last bit of that fat that was on me was from alcohol. I did not eat food back then. I did not eat at all. I've spoken about this so many times on here, but I always had an empty stomach because I wanted to feel that burn, and I wanted to feel it immediately. I did not want to have any food in my stomach, have any type of barrier. I wanted it to be where when I drank, I was feeling a buzz within 10, 15 minutes. And every time I drank, I did, because, like I said, there was nothing in my stomach at all. And here I am. I've got this huge gut. I'm fat. I just look so unhealthy in that video. My face is all red. Those little veins that are on my face, those things really stand out when I used to drink. And the ones on my nose. My face was always red. I mean, my face is red right now, but not like it used to be. I mean, it was like stop sign red all the time from the alcohol. Was it because it raised my blood pressure? Probably. It's probably just all of the effects of alcohol were causing that to happen. Alcohol is just not good for you. But anyway, like I said, last night I just really had an opportunity to see someone drunk from the outside. and I don't have a lot of experiences in my lifetime of being sober and being around someone that's intoxicated. I'm just going to be being completely honest with you guys. I just don't. I mean, I seriously might have a handful of experiences of myself being sober and I am around someone that's intoxicated. It was definitely an experience to see that. And more than anything else, it just really set in stone for me why I am staying sober. Because last night, I could have been acting like that, but I wasn't. We hung out over there. My youngest son got to trick or treat. My oldest son stayed with me the whole entire time. He just stood right there beside me the whole entire time, and didn't leave. While they were out trick or treating, my youngest son hung out with me. At one point, I got up and walked inside my brother's house because it was starting to get cold. My oldest son walked in there with me and sat on the couch with me. He wanted to be around me. That it wasn't like that back in the day. It just wasn't. My kids didn't want to be around me. They were embarrassed. And I used to ask them all the time, like, will you come hang out with me? And no, I don't want to. There was always something more important. And I gotta say, last night, the feeling that I had when like I said, when I got up and I said, I'm not feeling all that great, I'm gonna go sit inside, I'm really cold too. And my son got up and walked in the house and sat directly beside me. I mean, directly, like our legs were touching. He was so close. And he walked in there and sat right beside me and, talked to me the whole time. It's like, are you feeling okay, Dad? And I told him, yeah. And we just sat there and talked about camping the whole time, while they were gone. Then we got up and walked back outside. But my son and I basically just kind of hung out together the whole night. And we just hung out and talked about camping. And, I told him some stories. And he was talking to me about some other stuff. But it was just the two of us hanging out. And it was just such a good feeling to know that my son actually wanted to be with me last night. Had I been drinking last night, he would not have wanted to be around me. But I was sober and he wanted to be with his dad. I know that he feels differently about me now that I'm sober, and he's proud to be around his dad. I know that back when I was a drinker, he wasn't. And all of my kids were embarrassed to be around their father because he was such a mess and always drunk. And that's not the case anymore. I've got my respect back from my children again. I've got my respect back from my community. I've got my respect back from my family in general. Just my respect back from my friends. But most importantly, like I said, I got my respect back from my children again. And I gotta say, I'm more proud of that than any other accomplishment in my life. To know that my kids want to be around me again. That is by far the biggest accomplishment I've ever had. And it all stemmed from me getting sober. Because had I not been sober, they wouldn't want to be around me. And it's not just my sobriety. There's a whole lot of other things. Of course, I'm spending time with them, trying to have conversation. I'm like really trying to be present for my kids. It's taking a lot of work. But at the same time, like I said, my kids want to be around. And that wasn't always the case. And like I said, I'm more proud of that than any other accomplishment I've ever had in my entire life. And couldn't have done it without getting sober. Like I said, guys, last night I really got to take a look at what it looks like from the other side. And it's not a good look. It's embarrassing. And none of us want to look like that. Let's stay sober again today, guys. One more day. Let's keep our families proud of us. Let's allow our families to continue to trust us, and let's do our best to prevent drama in our life. Because like I said, last night when this individual showed up, it was just like they just had a cloak of drama that they brought along with them. And they just encased the whole entire house in it. Because as soon as they walked in, it was just being loud, just saying obnoxious things, and just completely out of character for this individual. Completely out of character. And like I said, had it not been for the alcohol, they would not have acted like that. When we drink, we make horrible decisions, and it clearly states on the bottle that it impairs your judgment. It just does. Let's stay sober one more day, guys. I know that you all can do it. It's November the 1st today. Talk about a clean slate starting today, November 1st. Let's finish off this day sober. Let's try to finish off the weekend sober, and maybe we can finish off the rest of this month sober. I know that you guys can do it. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And I'm going to go ahead and hop off of here for today. I think this video already is probably at about 45 minutes or something like that. And it's a Saturday night. I know you guys don't want to watch for that long. But if you stuck around all the way to the end, I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching today. If you're watching the channel and you haven't subscribed yet, I never talk about this. Maybe once every 2 months I'll say this. But if you're watching the channel and you haven't subscribed, please do so. Every time that each of you subscribe to the channel or leave a comment or like the video, it gets the video out into the algorithm more, which means that it puts it in front of people who might not have ever seen this channel before. It'll, the more subs, the more likes, the more comments, just the activity on the channel pushes these videos out more and more to more people, and it'll just pop up on somebody's recommended feed. Like a lot of you guys probably found this channel as well, and it just gets it out for more and more people, because I really do want to help as many people as I possibly can. I want to educate as many people as I possibly can about the dangers of alcohol, and how poisonous that substance actually really is, and what it actually does to us. And not only us, but what it does to our families, our work, our communities, just everything in general. But anyway, like I said, I need to go ahead and hop off of here for today. If you haven't subbed, please sub. If not, that's cool too. Thank you so much for sticking all the way to the end. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate that as well. And until tomorrow, I will see you guys then. I really do appreciate each and every single one of you being here. So see you guys in tomorrow's video. Love you all so much, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your night.